There is no excuse. He is the luckiest manager in the league right now.
We shouldn't be just maybe scraping over the line against West Ham. We should be dominating them.
Guys, we are sleepwalking our way to a relegation battle.
2 home wins all season, getting beaten at home by bottom of the table West Ham. Surely the manager has to go. But apparently he's just had a nice lunch. This is the Crowing Cockerel podcast. I'm Graham. I'm here with Mark and Thom. And oh my days, what is going on?
Yeah. I mean, that was so just to give people a little feel about where we are, is sat recording this pod at just gone 7 o'clock on Monday, the 19th of January, half expecting this to be the pod where we go, well, he's gone. He's finally gone. After that atrocious performance and result against the Hammers, he has been shipped out, and we're delighted, and we're going to chat about new managers. And yet we get to the news conference this afternoon, and, you know, he's talking about how he's had a lovely lunchtime date. With Vinay and co, and everything's rosy in the garden. It just feels so weird.
It's bizarre.
They've absolutely wussed out of making a decision, haven't they? If they hadn't had chicken for lunch, I don't know what else to say, really.
It's the first big test for them, isn't it? This is the thing. You would think if Daniel Levy had still been here, Thomas Frank would not be. There's no way he would have put up with that.
This is the thing. And we are now at the point in this soap opera drama where we're all finding out maybe Daniel Levy wasn't the bad guy.
Yeah.
I mean, is this where we're at? You know, Daniel Levy would have sacked him by now. But we all could blame Daniel Levy for a lot of the reasons why we've got here. But why? Please, one of you guys, please tell me, what is it that's keeping him in a job?
I've got a bit of a theory about this. So there is a lot of change in the club, and this been sort of touted about since actually post the West Ham. Well, you know, all the structure above Frank has changed since the moment he joined the club. Different CEOs, different director of footballs, Paratici leaving, Matty Wells leaving, and he's been getting a new assistant coach. So there's been a lot of churn in the club around the team, which, as much as he wants to use the word aligned, isn't going to be very helpful in aligning anybody if people keep shifting. So I think there's that. I think you have to look at the injuries. I think he can absolutely say the amount of injuries we've had. And I think we quoted on a pod recently that we were the first team this season to reach over 1,000 days of missing players through injuries this season, which is a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, but I've got a problem with that because
Go on.
I'm sorry, right here, right now, yes, decimated by injuries.
Yeah,
most of the season, no. I'm sorry, I don't subscribe to this popular theory that once again, you know, it's been like Ange had last season. It simply isn't true. Now that those 1,000 days, they were skewed by us having 3 players out all season, right?
Yeah, true.
Solanke, Madders, Kulusevski. We all knew they were going to be out until now. Vicario's been there every game. Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Spence. Yes, a doggy's been out, but you know, Polinia, Bentancur, Gray, Bergval's been there for most of the time. Kudus has been there. Simmons has been there. Richarlison's been there. Everyone has been there. He hasn't had injuries this season until the last couple of weeks. So I'm sorry, but no. Compared to what Ange had to deal with last year, he has not had that problem this season.
Yeah, and look, the question was, what excuses could you give? I think the last one as well is that it's just a bad look, isn't it? And that they've been saying for the longest time, since the start of the season, we're building on something. This is going to take time. We're going to invest. There was that whole, 2-page spread, was it, in the programme from Vinay, where they were talking about the investment, and brilliantly, the first time I've ever heard this mentioned, wages. So that was one little grain of sand that I took from that, which gave me sort of an iota of hope. But I think it's a bad look if this new, you know, management unit are then seen to chuck out Thomas Frank because it is a bad look. And honestly, who's going to come right now? We're going to be in exactly the same situation as United, with some sort of interim coach coming in.
They should just do a raffle, fan manager for the day,
There you
for the
go.
rest of the season, because we're not doing anything for the rest of the season. Let's face it, we're not going to
But
improve.
again, no, hang on. But again, that is the other thing. That is my biggest worry. It's exactly what you've just said, and that seems to be the popular opinion. We're not doing anything this season, writing off the season. Guys, we are sleepwalking our way to a relegation
Into a
battle.
relegation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
this I keep hearing that. Oh yeah, Thomas Frank. Oh, it's annoying, isn't it? We've got to write off another season. We are like, where are we getting our points from? You've seen the fixtures in February.
You can't beat Wolves at home, can't beat West Ham at home. Where are you going to get 5 wins from to take us to 39 points?
We are sleepwalking to a relegation dogfight, and I don't look at that squad as a squad with the mentality to have anything about them to try and get themselves out of it.
And yeah, and now that's on top of the fact that we've now got all these injuries as
Yeah,
well.
absolutely.
So you're not far wrong. I feel like that the arguments that I mentioned before, that is what will get trawled out. But we've been saying for weeks, saying for months, the reason we're in this position is because of the type of football we've been playing. And that sits at Frank's door, nobody else's.
We don't play through balls, we don't shoot, we don't create big chances. Even though you can argue that our front line is not of a high enough standard, what should be happening is that they keep missing sitters or blazing it over the bar, or we should still be able to have a decent amount of shots on goal and a decent amount of saves by the goalkeeper. And we just don't. We just don't look like creating enough to win games.
It's more than that, Graham, because what is the one phrase that Frank has chucked out more than any other this season?
Good
And
old
that is
clean sheet mentality.
bingo.
Yeah.
And we're not even doing that. The way we're defending, how we're defending, the amount of late goals we're conceding, that's the bit he's supposed to be good at. That's the bit he's supposed to be drilling. He should have spent 20 games or more getting that bit right. Fine, it might be boring, but we wouldn't be losing. We'd be picking up points, or we'd be at least hanging on to leads. But he's not even doing that. And actually, the issues in defence with injuries, we haven't had that. It's been our front line that's been disrupted. That defence and midfield has been relatively solid. The
He's had
problem has
enough
been,
quality there not to be this
oh
far down
God,
the
yeah.
league. Yeah.
And this goes back to a point I made donkeys ago, where he kept rotating sort of everything other than the back four. Everything in front of that back four kept rotating. So we didn't have a settled partnership in midfield. Or if we did, it wasn't working. So Bentancur and Paulinho would spend an entire match doing nothing. And so that would get ripped up either next match or halfway through a game. So it's so frustrating, because the one thing he has been banging on about is making us a better defensive unit, and he hasn't even got that bit right. So there is no excuse. He is the luckiest manager in the league right now.
He was asked what he would say to the fans to persuade them that he is able to turn it around. And Thomas Frank has asked us as fans to look at Tottenham Hotspur's last 7 games.
Yeah.
How many of those games have we won? How many of those games have we really looked like we should have won? I would suggest we've played well, probably for about 10 minutes here and there in most of those games. And there's elements that you can pin your hat on to say, oh, if we could do that consistently, that would be great. The last 7 games have not suggested in any shape or form that we are going to be competitive at the upper reaches of the league. And I would suggest they don't even suggest that we're, going to be safe from relegation at the moment.
No, absolutely
If
not.
if if you're suggesting that we should have won 2-1 against West Ham because we played reasonably well, and that's what you're putting all your hopes on. And again, we'll get pelters from West Ham fans because they really picked up on uh, our predictions this week. It's been an absolute joy getting the notifications through for the comments after that. But rightly so. You take it on the chin, don't you? We were absolutely embarrassed. But
And to be
West
fair,
Ham,
you were definitely dishing it out last week, Graham.
Yeah.
I know,
I don't know where that
because
confidence came from.
because they're loving it because they know they're a terrible, terrible football club at the moment. They're what this is what being a West Ham fan probably feels like
Yeah.
every single season. We hate the board, we hate the manager, we hate the football, and we're fighting relegation. Basically, we can just swap tops at the moment, can't we? If you're saying, if you really look at it, we could have won against West Ham, we shouldn't be just maybe scraping over the line against West Ham. We should be dominating them like we did actually earlier in the season.
That
To
is
be
the worrying
fair, when
thing,
we
isn't
battered
it? That is the worrying thing, is that you listen to him and it's almost like he doesn't really understand what the fuss is about. He keeps pointing to this last 7 going, "Have you not watched these games? Can you not see that we're so close to," and everyone is looking around going, "No, Thomas. No, we can't."
them. We're so close to getting 5 points out of 7 games. Yeah, just like what I thought was really funny was that Thomas Frank obviously did his interviews and said, "Oh, we're really unfortunate, but we're definitely getting there. You can see that things are improving." And then Cuti Romero does one of his first interviews in English, doesn't he, with a
Yeah,
translator, and basically says it's a disaster. Now, I
Yeah.
appreciate that English is to be able to articulate a longer answer might be a bit more difficult for him,
yeah.
but the juxtaposition between what the coach is saying and what the captain is saying and feeling is two completely different
Well,
things.
and fair play to Cuti, because he's bang on. It feels like he is the one that has the standards that is more aligned with the fans. He knows that he must be looking around going, "What the hell is going on?" And we've talked about it before. Has been
He's a
part of the
passionate
problem
guy.
at times. Yeah, of course, but
But you
yeah,
want that, don't you?
of course you do. Of course you do. It's yeah, it's really worrying.
It is really strange the way he comes across, and I
Yeah,
know I've said it, and Tom, you disagree, but I do find him condescending.
yeah,
Like we're all idiots.
yeah.
I've been saying for the last few weeks, I don't dislike Frank. I think, and actually, there's a lot of love for him out there in the football world. The amount of people who've come out and said, "Oh, it's a real shame it's not working out for him." They know Frank, or they've worked with Frank, or they have so much respect for what he did at Brentford and all that. So he seems really well respected, and honestly, I wasn't on the sort of hate Frank train or the dislike Frank train. I just don't think it's a good match, and
It's
I'd
it's
like him
got
to
not a
jog
good
on.
fit. Yeah,
But yeah, after the West Ham game, I have to admit, I was thinking about you guys when I was hearing him sort of make excuses for
Mm.
what we're seeing, and it's the time for excuses is done. I mean, do you think he'll last the week? Do you think he'll be in charge against Burnley?
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Obviously, we've been joking about him having a lovely lunch date today. Part of me does wonder if his kind of confidence and defiance, if you like, is because he genuinely has been told by the board, "You're here all season. We believe in you, we trust in you," and so he doesn't feel like his job is under threat.
but again,
Wow.
Vinay is supposed to be this excellent communicator. If that is the case, protect the guy because
Yeah.
yes, I find him a bit condescending, but absolutely, I don't think he's a bad person. I just
No.
think he's a bad fit for Spurs. And I actually think it's awful of the upper management to be putting him through this now because they're not backing him. They're not coming out and saying, yes, the results aren't good enough, but Thomas Frank is going to be here for the foreseeable. We are not changing manager. We've made a decision. We've discussed everything. We are not changing manager this season.
At least that would deflect, because again, you've got all the booze going on. At least if they had the integrity, if that's what they're going to do, if they had the integrity to come out and say that, that deflects some of that anger from him because he's there now. It doesn't matter if we boo him, it doesn't matter. He's going to be there. So if the fans want to make a point, then they start making it to the board. It takes a bit of heat off him if that is what their plan is. But equally, they're going to make him look like a complete fool if, let's say, we've lost the Dortmund game and then they make a decision at the end of this week. That would be unforgivable in my eyes. If they've led him along this path of thinking, yeah, it's all good, and then a couple of days later they get rid of him,
Yeah.
It shows such weakness.
And on the sort of flip side of that, there are signs that they back Frank. I mean, apparently Conor Gallagher was a player Frank really wanted. He seemed to be very much behind, if not almost influential, in the John Heidegger appointment. So they've backed him in that sense. But I tell you what, if they are going to back him, then we need a bit more work in the transfer window, because we are down to the bare bones now, and some of those injuries, they're months.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
And if we don't improve now, then as Mark says, we're on a slippery slope.
yeah. I mean, you look at the injuries, like you say. I mean, Kulusevski hasn't even got a date anymore, is he? Obviously, we knew Madders were going to be out all season already. Kudus, I think, isn't meant to be back till sort of April time. Same with Bentancur. Yeah, as you say, this situation is not getting better anytime soon. So, and maybe
Yeah.
that's part of the reasoning as well, is that if you bring a new manager in, what are they meant to do? That, this is the trouble. As I said, the problem that Thomas Frank has been caused by everything that happened almost like pre-Christmas. What's happening now, you almost feel sorry for him, because, again, for the Dortmund game, he's got 11 senior players available to him. Like, what's he meant to do?
No, it's just a little bit of going back to the injuries thing, and a little bit of support for Frank, or at least a little bit of a deflection. What is wrong with our medical department? I mean, it just feels like it's being run by complete idiots. I'm wondering, we've got our state-of-the-art training ground. What was the underlay they put in there? Is it marshmallow? Because every time they get on a football pitch, they snap something or break something or pull something. There seems to be a real brittleness around our squad,
Yeah.
and that's after last year.
Bentancur was overplayed, I think. He didn't get rotated, and eventually his muscle's gone.
Kudus as well.
You
He's not as much red as he.
Oh, I think definitely kudos. But the thing is, now we're getting to the point where we're having players who are routinely injured. So I'm looking at Richarlison, I'm looking at Bentancur, I'm looking at Udogie. These players continually get injured. Are we doing something wrong when we're buying these players because we're not doing the right medical checks, or is it just because those players aren't getting overplayed because they don't play enough, because
Well,
they end up getting injured?
but the other side of it as well, of course, last season, Ange had a lot of criticism towards him because of the way we played and the way that everything was so frantic, and it was no wonder that people's hamstrings were pinging here, there, and everywhere. Let's be honest, we just stand still in our own
Yeah.
half. Like I don't know what our running stats or our sprinting stats are like, but I would
Exactly.
imagine that they are nowhere near the top of the Premier League. So
Yeah. Like you say, Mark, there is no excuse for the performances that we've been putting in to then accrue this amount of injuries. So look, I am not absolving Frank. I think if we switch on the Frankometer now, we all say Frank out. But
So let's do that. Let's
go
switch
on
on the
then.
Frankometer. This is going to be very, very quick, I think.
yeah,
So, just a quick recap of the rules. If all three of us, for 3 weeks running, all say Frank out, we will send a strongly worded email to the club to suggest that he needs to be moved on. Okay. There is, of course, a risk we don't get to the third week. Last week, we all said Frank out. This week, and I'll go first, Frank out. Just because put the ill dog down, frankly.
yeah. It is a bit like that, isn't it? It's just there is no way that I can see this changing for him. So yeah, just put him out of his misery. Frank out.
Yeah, for the toxicity now around the ground, it's too much, and I don't know if he can come back from this. Definitely Frank out.
Right. So obviously he's not gone. He's still in his job at the moment, as we're talking this evening. We've got Dortmund tomorrow in the Champions League. So let's get into the prediction game. Mark, what is the league looking like now?
Well, very similar to last week, because I was the only person to pick up a point. We all prayed and hoped that we would win, and of course we didn't. But irony of ironies, I went for Christian Romero
Yeah.
to score,
Oh, brilliant.
Graham's favourite selection.
How many? Do we know how many weeks I've predicted Christian Romero to score and not
Oh, it's
got a
4
point?
at least 4.
So you have predicted Romero to score 5 times.
Five
And
times.
And bearing in mind that he has popped up with a few goals this season, he has not popped up with a single goal when you've predicted it, but he came up good for me. So a point for me. But yeah, like I say, that was the only point.
Brilliant header as well. Brilliant header.
Yeah. So
Yes.
so very quickly, score update: Graham with 17. I now have 20. Thom still well ahead with 28.
Right. So Dortmund, who apparently have only lost one game in the Bundesliga this season, presumably that was against Bayern Munich. They're around and about us in the Champions League, though. We don't have a team to put out tomorrow, really. We have 11 fit senior players. Potentially, we only have one fit midfielder, and that's Bergvall, who's just come back from injury. Have we got any hope at all?
I would say no. No, I mean, obviously we've done all right in Europe this season, but to be fair, I think most of the teams that we've played haven't necessarily been of Premier League quality. I think Dortmund certainly are. So I think it's going to be a struggle, but I'm going to be as positive as I can. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw, and it's going to be a comeback goal for Dom Solanke.
We're going to lose 3-0. We've got no team. I've got no faith, sadly, in Thomas Frank turning it around in a couple of days with the injury list we've got as well. So, yeah, I'm just going to say 3-0. Sorry.
Ouch.
Yeah, I don't know how we can really predict anything but a beating. I remember being in the ground when Martin Jol got sacked at half-time. I don't think it's inconceivable that Thomas Frank is going to get sacked after this game, and he might well be sacked at half-time as well. The difference being is that when the news went round the ground with Martin Jol, the fans were chanting his name. That ain't going to happen. So I do think we're going to get beaten. I think we're going to score first.
Well, that's
I think there's
worse.
going to be a bit. Yeah, I think like Mark, I think Solanke's going to get on the end of something, and we're going to get a goal. But I think we're going to get turned over 2-1 again late in the game, because I just think we could be dead on our feet, and we're likely to pick up another injury, and that's how happy I am about the situation at the moment. So 2-1 Dortmund, Frank to be sacked, Solanke to score an early goal, and another couple of injuries.
Excellent.
Right. So after the Dortmund game, we will then be away in a relegation 6-pointer against
Another one.
Burnley.
Goodness me.
Yeah.
Another one.
Yeah.
Man.
So up to Turf Moor. They got a good result, Anfield. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
They can cause us a lot of problems, but can we go there and get a result? What do we think?
I still think we're going to be hampered by injuries. I still think that Frank needs more time to change the pattern of plays that we've got, because it still hasn't clicked yet. So if he's still in charge, I'm going to say a 2-2 draw. I think perhaps we might be able to scrape something in our away games if we've got a squad back. So yeah, choosing a scorer, I don't know. Who's still got a pulse? Let's go Van de Ven, because he's been rested in the week.
Fair enough. Again, away from home, less pressure. And to your point, Thom, actually, there are going to be a few players that are able to come back. Obviously, Gallagher and Tell are both ineligible. Van de Ven suspended for the midweek game, so they will all come back into the squad. Fingers crossed we don't get any more injuries in the Dortmund game. I think we'll win. I really think that something has to give at some point, so why not against Burnley? So I'm going to say 2-1, and I'm going to maintain my faith in Matthias Tell to continue his decent form of late.
It's a massive, massive game. We can't lose. We just can't lose this and be dragged down into a relegation fight. We just cannot.
I seem to remember us saying the same thing last week, though.
Yes, but we can't. We can't. We're gonna end up having to get Klinsmann back at this rate to save us from relegation.
Yeah.
But I think we'll just scrape over the line 2-1, and the scorer, I think Gallagher will get a goal. Let's lighten the mood, guys. Let's have a bit of fun. Let's have a quiz. Let's get into Thom's teaser.
Play that jingle.
Thom's teaser.
Right, boys, going to keep this really simple this week. So, of course, we played West Ham. We are called Tottenham. This is the Ham quiz.
Yes.
I'm going to give you 10 questions. Your names is your buzzers. Every question, every answer will have a ham in the answer. So it'll either be a player or a club or Premier League. The most important thing here is, though, if you don't accentuate the ham in your answer, you're not getting the point. All right. So let's start with question number 1. In 2007, Spurs bought a promising Welsh left-back from this club.
Mark.
Go on, Mark.
Southampton.
Very nice. Correct. It was obviously Gareth Bale. Question 2. This German midfielder played alongside Steven Gerrard at Liverpool.
Mark.
Go on, Mark.
Didi Hamann.
Correct. Come on, Graham, get your ham on. Number 3. Steve Bruce twice got this team to the Premier League.
Mark.
Yes.
Birmingham City.
Correct. Graham.
Just so everyone's aware, I am still here. I am still here.
Question number 4. This former Chelsea striker now plays for Roma.
Graham.
Yes.
Tammy Abraham.
Very nice. Question number 5. This team is managed by Marco Silva.
Graham.
Yes.
Fulham.
Correct. Oh, he's back in the game. Question number 6. For Spurs, who currently tops the stats for assists?
Assists? This season?
Graham.
Yes.
Teddy Sheringham.
This season?
Oh, this season. Sorry, I misheard.
But by the way,
possibly. Has anybody seen? Haven't they just been corners?
Yeah. By the way, that was beautifully delivered. Mark, Graham is frozen out for this one. Am I going to have to give it you?
I'm frantically going through the team trying to find a ham in there. I thought it was Kudus, to be honest. But obviously, oh yeah, go Mark. Mohamed Kudus.
There you go. It was in there somewhere. I maybe should have timed you out, but I could see the cogs swearing, and it was fun to watch.
I thought it was Kudus straight away, and I'm like, well, who else has ham?
Okay, question number 7. Paul Scholes managed this former Premier League team for 31 days.
Mark.
Yes.
Old Ham Athletic.
Old Ham Athletic it is. Okay, question number 8. Name the manager. Chelsea, West Ham, Swansea, Sweden, Brighton.
Graham.
Yes.
Graham Potter.
Yeah, it would have been awful if you hadn't got that one. Okay, number 9. This Premier League team is managed by a former Tottenham coach. This is probably one of the easy ones.
Oh, Mark.
Yes?
West Ham United.
West Ham. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sorry, I had to throw that one in there. It would have been wrong for a ham quiz not to. Final, number 10 question. Which midfielder played for Arsenal, Liverpool and England and became the youngest scorer in the Champions League? This is the hardest answer. If you get this, I will bax you £7.
Backs you. Arsenal,
Which midfielder
Liverpool.
played for Arsenal, Liverpool and England and became the youngest scorer in the Champions League? I think that record's been beaten since then. Am I going to have to time you both out?
Yeah, I think you might have to. Arsenal and Liverpool.
Are you ready? Alex Oxlade Chamberlain.
My God.
Yeah, it was a pretty sneaky ham. But
I mean, nobody can see my face, but if you can imagine an absolute look of disgust and horror,
yeah,
then that's what my face is at the moment.
Well, I agree that was a nasty bit of ham. Just to let you know, the tiebreaker was this player has captained England and scored a famous free kick against Greece.
David Beckham.
There you go. But we didn't need it. We didn't need it because scoring 6 to Graham's 3 mark is this week's Thom teaser winner.
I'm glad I've got Sheringham in there. I'm to be honest, I'm absolutely appalled that Sheringham was not one of the answers. So
No, it was Mohammed Kudus. It was more tricky than that.
Yeah.
Well, I disagree. And also my quiz, my rules.
Yeah,
and it gives me even more pleasure, Graham, to say that you're currently on 6 points and Mark is currently on 11. Yep.
Thom's teaser.
We're all feeling a bit happier now, so let's do some positive Spurs.
Now everybody, haven't you heard? Here's a guy that can polish a turd. When you think you've got nothing to give, he'll stay positive. Positive Spurs.
I'm going to pass this over this week because we have our very first superfan.
Yes, we have. We've got 3 pieces of positive news, haven't we, today? But yeah, the first one is we have ourselves a super fan, and so we wanted to give him a bit of a shout out because his dad contacted the show. So a big shout out to Freddie, who is 10. His dad contacted us and said that he's a big Spurs fan, but an even bigger Crowing Cockerel podcast fan. Quite right too.
Good lad.
So yeah, great to hear from you, Freddie. Thank you for listening, and yeah, hopefully things will turn around for Spurs soon, and it'll be a little bit more cheery when you're listening in your dad's car to us in future. But yeah, thanks for the shout.
And is Freddie's dad a Spurs fan?
Freddie's dad is not a Spurs fan.
Well, fair play, Freddie.
Well done. Let's hear it for Freddie.
Fair play for looking at all your options, Freddie, and thinking, do you know what? I want to learn resilience.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Not everything is good all the time, but when it is good, it's brilliant. So well done, Freddie. And thank you so much for listening.
Positive Spurs number 2 is very exciting because we all have some news, don't we, gents?
Yeah.
Because the Crowing Cockerel podcast are going on tour. Yes, we are going to Frankfurt. We're going to be watching the game. It's our first ever away European trip together. So, yeah, we're all very excited.
Yeah, and this is my first ever European away trip for Spurs. I know you guys have done a couple in the past, but this is sort of life affirming, bucket list ticking eventing here. So yeah, I'm genuinely excited. Also, my wife pointed out to me that this is the first time that I'll be traveling abroad on my own. So because you boys will be flying out from the nation's capital and I'll be flying out from a little bit further north. So yeah, so I'll just be standing in Terminal 1 in Frankfurt with a big board saying Crowing Cockerel podcast, please look after this bear. So yeah, really, really excited. I'm a little bit disappointed we're not going in with slightly better form.
Yeah, I was going to say, good timing, but
it's going to be fantastic to sort of get out there and hopefully connect.
Yeah, this is what sporting Spurs is all about, isn't it? It's about, the days out with friends and, enjoying it and laughing. My positive Spurs was really around at the end of the game on Saturday. Awful result. A lot of toxicity, but also the gallows humour from Spurs fans, on the trains back, on the social media. You can't help but laugh at it. We're so used to this now. We're probably the best in the league at dealing with this sort of rubbish. Football's always been about community, isn't it? And we'll be here as fans long after Thomas Frank. We just keep the positivity going, keep the laughs going, and then try and enjoy what's put in front of us, really.
Absolutely.
No, this is it. It's they say that the good times are only good because of all the bad times you've got to go through to get there, haven't they? So things will change. Things always change. Obviously, things are pretty grim at the moment, but it will change. We've got enough of the infrastructure behind us to know that it will happen. It just might not be this week.
And on that bombshell, it's not that much of a bombshell, is it? Right. Shall I do it then? Because normally I'm the last one to say this, but let's try and look forward, boys. And come on, you Spurs.
Come
on, you Spurs.
Sort yourselves out.